Hi there, it's Shell with Little Acres Creations, and today I have another junk journal for sale in my shop, littleacrescreations.com, and I will have a link below. So this one is a 9 by 6 journal with about a 2-inch spine, and this is a soft cover, and I did make it from scratch, and I have a beautiful charm. So and I made there's some buttons, some beads, a little spool, and just some little charms on here. There's some scissors, the buttons, a little snap, and a little sewing machine. I thought that was really cute. And this is a sewing themed journal. So what I did is I stitched together pieces of lace that I had in my stash on the front and the back. And then on the front you have this vintage cameo that I received from my friend's mother's estate. She gave me a whole bunch of her jewelry. And then I just kind of collaged just some lace, some old fabrics, and some vintage buttons. Okay, so let's go in. We have 4 really full signatures. I'm not exactly sure on the of the amount of pages, but there's quite a few in here, so I'll put that in the description box below if you're interested in knowing the exact amount of pages. Okay, so this is I just covered this with some more fabric, and this is, like I said, a soft book, so but it does have some stiffness to it, and it's just a fabric material on the inside. And then I have this beautiful lace that I received in a Happy Mail, and since this is a sewing journal, I took a lot of sewing the patterns and stuff from the sewing patterns. I took the patterns from them, or the instructions for the patterns. In this one I made a pocket, and I just made a little tuck spot here. So, and this one, as you can tell, is kind of pink and kind of off-white for the theme. So, and this one is a little tag, and there's a little pocket here. I ended up putting so much stuff in here. It was crazy. And again, I made like a little collage here with some of my leftover papers that I used throughout the book, and then just some old patterns and old, pictures from different pattern books. And this page is made from the actual pattern, so that tissue paper pattern. And then here I made a pocket, and this is the back of that tissue paper pattern, and I lined it with some coffee dyed paper. And this is a piece of an almanac from 1962. And then the pocket, again, there's some like illustrations from a crocheting magazine, so I took some of those. And then on the other side we have like a half pocket, and just some old, like this is some face powder, an advertisement from an old magazine, and I decoupaged some napkins and put an old stamp on it. It's not that old, well, 29 cents, so it is fairly old. And then here is a journaling spot. I glued down the top, but you can certainly journal in there. You can take any of this out that you don't want. And then here I made a belly band using some vintage and some not so vintage buttons and just little pieces of jewelry. I made a little pocket out of some more of the directions and stuck that in here. And then this is just a fancy like journaling card. Put that back. And this is some instructions from that crochet magazine. I think it was like back in the 1960s or 1950s. Some coffee dyed paper. I didn't put a whole lot of coffee dyed paper in here, but I did put quite a bit. And then just some kind of instructions on how to crochet. I just thought that was kind of neat. I tried to incorporate like crochet, knitting, tatting, sewing, all the handcrafts in this book. So here is some more of the directions, and I did a little dress form, and I put like a little button and then a little pair of scissors over here, and this is a pocket and just some note paper. And this is a hand stitched, I just kind of laid out and stitched, did some embroidery on it, and this is a flip. And this is the middle of my signature, so I just left the strings long, but you could certainly put something on them to kind of decorate them up if you'd like to. But I really had fun with the fabric flips in this book. Some more of the embroidered directions. Here's another fabric flip, which I absolutely love. My mother-in-law made this huge kind of wreath for me. And then this is some older, like these were little earrings and then a chain, and then I just sewed it and made it into a fabric flip. I had a lot of fun with this, and I had pulled my back. So all these were pretty much hand done. And then here's another kind of collage. This is 10-cent oil or shampoo, coconut oil shampoo, which is so funny to me because now coconut oil is back. And this is from just a little book that I found, and I thought it had some neat sayings in it. Shut out the busy, let in the peace, and if at first you don't succeed, pretend you weren't really trying. Just some fun things. Here's another piece of that pattern tissue paper, some lace, and a really pretty, just a little flower with another flower glued in. Oops, that does fit. Make it like this. There we go. And then this is the back of the pattern book, or the pattern package. So I just made a signature sheet from that, and that's actually on this side too. And then just took out some more of the decorations, put a little journaling piece in here, and this is just like daily activities and stuff. And then here I did some more collaging, and I did an illustration, and I put some La France powdered, and then some tea room training from an old magazine. And then here is just a little tag, and then it's blank on the back, so you could text on or write on that. I guess you wouldn't text. And then this is some more of those directions from an old pattern, and this is an old book, library book card or envelope, and then this just had it already typed on and everything on this book card, so I thought I'd leave that in. This says scissors, so an old dictionary saying for scissors. I did some decoupaging here, and then you can put something behind it. It's another quote from that one book I have. And this is another envelope, and I just made it into a pocket. And here is another corner, and another one of those those paper floats, paper envelopes, floats. I tell you guys, it's been a long day. And I just decoupaged a little butterfly on there. I really like the color of that. And then here is a vintage piece of jewelry that I also received in that estate sack of jewelry, and I just kind of sewed. There's a lot of sewing in this book. Here is a doily, just a fabric doily that I made as one of my pages. And this says, I love to quilt. And it just is some vintage pieces, vintage buttons, some tatting, and some lace, and a piece of chain here. And you can decorate that up more. And then here's some more instructions. And I just put a little piece of paper in there so that you can journal and so that you know what that is when you get the book. And then here is another just a fabric piece that I went in and collaged on, kind of like the fabric flips, only in this case I made it into a pocket. I thought it just looked better. There's an old zipper end and then an old rusty safety pin, and then some different buttons and a really pretty applique piece and some 2 gold little leaves. And then another one of those pockets, and I learned to make these from Gail Agostinelli. She just recently did a kind of decoupage tag, and she said she learned it from someone else, but I went ahead and just made it my own. So I put in, you know, like the old-timey dresses, the patterns, and a definition of the thimble. And I put this in here too. This is a Spanish piece, and I just put the ones that refer to sewing. So that one goes in there. Here's some more instructions on how to crochet, and here is the middle of our signature. So here's some Swedish weaving. This was so fun to make. It took me forever. I think I've been working on it a month. I haven't worked on it, you know, a month total, but it's been a while and it's been so fun. This is the sewing directions and another pocket. This is from the other side. That's why this side's up, right side up. The other side was upside down. And here's the other side of that doily, so you can put your own pieces in there if you want to. And then here is another belly band and another saying, even the stuff that has to get done doesn't have to get done today. And these are some vintage buttons, some new buttons. And then this is just a piece. It was really pretty brittle. I think this was 1952 or something, the instructions. So I just sewed around the whole thing so you can just make it into a page. You can cover it up, or you can gesso and paint in it, whatever you'd like to do. And this is our third signature. This is some shelf liner. It kind of smells like baby powder. And I picked that up at a yard sale this past year. And then here's some more directions that I made into a pocket. And then I made these tags using some illustrations from different magazines. Oh, and it's blank on the back. Coffee dyed paper, and it's sewn all the way around. And then just some older paper. How to put pages together. And here is some of the tissue paper, pattern paper, with some lace and some fabric. And I just sewed that onto this page. Here is another fabric pocket that I just hand stitched everything on, and then I put like this really cute brad, some buttons, some vintage buttons, and then some little charms. And then in this pocket I have kind of like a pull out that I just decorated with some paper that I thought would go really nice in this book. And you can put pictures, or you can cover that up however you like to. And then here's the other side. And then here's a kind of collage pocket. Has a little bit of pink lace. And this one has thread on the bottom. It looks like it's upside down. Sorry about that. That's what's so great about these being junk journals. You can mess up and it's okay. Here is a tag, and then a lady sewing at a sewing machine in Spanish. I looked up the sayings, and I don't think they really refer to a sewing machine, but the picture is. And then here is another pocket made out of the directions, and then just another kind of collage. And then it's coffee dyed paper on the back with a little fabric lace tab. And then this is one of my favorite pieces, and I just kind of did a little collage. I did some napkin, and I went ahead and just kind of collaged that down with some collage page, and then I put tell me your story and put a piece of lace across the top. But when you pull that, it's kind of like a secret spot. So I really like that, because nobody really knows, you know, what your story is, but you can write it here, and if no one's going to know unless you tell them. So I thought that was a fun addition. And then here I have some old measuring tape, some of that tissue paper directions, some lace, and then this dress form cut out. Then I have another belly band. There's some tatting on here, and lace, and then some vintage buttons, and then a new little, it's kind of like a teapot charm. I just thought that kind of went with the theme, as well as just a fancy little card that you can write on and journal. And then over here is another one of those fabric flips, and this one has some crochet, and then just some different laces, some satin lace, little rows, and then just some pieces that were kind of appliqued on a towel that I cut out and sewed onto this one. And then this piece is another vintage piece that was in my friend's mother's jewelry, and it's just on some coffee dyed paper. And then just some more directions. I kind of liked this. It just says learn how to crochet, knit, tat, embroidery, and that's kind of what the book is about. So I put that in, some little directions. And this book, original book, was from 1959. Here I just did some little collaging. This is a pocket, but I didn't have anything else to go in, and it was getting so full as it was. So this says sewing here, and then some little vintage buttons, and some little leaves that I had in my stash, as well as some chain. I just thought that was a really cute page. And then I have some little pockets here, and I just stuck this in here just to show you the pockets, but you can certainly journal on that. And this page was from the tissue fabric. Now here is kind of like another little secret spot. I just collaged some lace here, did the same thing down on the bottom, and then put this flower with this really pretty button, and then a button here, and I made just a little button here for a clasp, and it comes up, and then inside is a pocket. The bottom part is sewed down, so it's kind of like a faux part of the pocket, but then here's some paper that you can just kind of journal on that I stuck inside here, and then that just folds over. So if you don't want someone to know your secrets again, you can just write it in here, and it takes a little bit of time to get in to see what you're doing. And here is thread and yarn for every purpose, just another part of that book, I guess the back of that book. Some more directions for crochet, and then I did another decoupage. This is from an old dictionary I have, talking about the sewing machine and 1845. So I went ahead and Mod Podged that on to this pocket. And here is another tag with some crochet, some lace, and another sewing definition. and it is clear on the back, so you can do some journaling on that. And then this, I loved this picture, so I cut it out of a magazine that I have, and I backed it with a harder paper, and then I just went ahead, and this is talking about hairnets, and I just thought it was so pretty. I lined it with lace, and I loved how it looked, and I just put a piece of paper in here that you can do thought for the day, daily activities, and just things that you can write on. And that is the 4 signatures. Back here I just have one of the what am I thinking? One of the envelopes that the pattern comes in, and I just put that here. It's pretty brittle, so I went ahead and lined it with some of the tissue paper, sewed around that, and it's a pocket. There's 2 here, so there's one inside the envelope and then one behind the envelope, and I just stuck some coffee dyed paper in there, so you are aware of that. And then over here is my last pocket. I have the lace on the back, the lace that I had on the front is on the back. And then I just made another little envelope from the directions, slid that in, and then a music bingo sheet, which I just thought the colors would go well with this. And then the tying is some seam binding that I had in my stash, and it's just I just folded it so I had double ties on the top and on the bottom, and then you just kind of have to hold it because it's really bulky. But I loved how this turned out, and I hope you guys like it too. Again, if you're interested in finding out more about this, you can go to my shop, littleacrescreations.com, head up to the gift section, and you can purchase it there. Hope you guys enjoyed this. It was so, like I said, it was so fun to make, and I think you'll enjoy it too. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure and hit that subscribe button if you want to see more junk journal ideas. Thanks for watching, and you guys have a great day.